it's Jeff DiVeronica and Steve Bradley. I probably don't need to keep saying that because their names are on the screen, right, Steve?
We have graphics, Jeff.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Happy October Saturday.
Episode 4. And how about the fact that we can wear shorts on almost mid-October wearing shorts?
We can wear shorts in January.
Well, I'm not like that.
We're Rochester, man. We can do it.
Like
we can do it.
Hey, we've got a bunch of Section 5 football action to talk about in a couple minutes. In addition to, we're going to talk about the unbeaten matchups last night. You were there for one of them, and it was our Pittsburgh Pub game of the week. We had to pivot a little bit. I want Ross Geller on you there for a second. Pivot from the UPrep game because UPrep handed it to Schroeder. His Schroeder homecoming was a bit damp last night. And we're going to have the UPrep Griffins on today, Steve Bradley. Hotrod, Sharod Watkins is going to be on the program. Big defensive lineman. And second-year head coach Isiah Young to talk about UPreps. They're 5-1, and they've won 4 in a row. And I think they're a little under the radar. I know you do too, but we talked to Hotrod, and he's like, no, we feel like we're getting a lot of love.
And if you talk about teams, Jeff, that are trending in the right direction, really only 1 week left of the regular season for the Class A teams because they have to have the play-in for states. UPrep, like you said, 4 in a row, impressive win at Schroeder. Ton of talent on that team, and they had to overcome some early season adversity, and they only lost to Brighton 21-19. So, and we all know how good Brighton has been all season, still unbeaten at 6-0. So, UPrep certainly a team to watch all the way for the rest of the season. So
we'll do our football whip around in just a minute. Steve Bradley, the football guru of Section 5. I'm sorry, George Giordano, you've lost the nickname. It's going to be Steve Bradley, the guru. But then we have a second guest who is a former Section 5 star. Ernie Clement, the former Brighton baseball star, 3-time AGR, the player of the decade for the Democrat Chronicle AGR team. He's now with the Cleveland Indians. He's 25 years old, 40 games in the big leagues this year. We recorded this a couple of days ago. I thought it was a great interview, and I'm not just saying it because you and I did it.
No, I would agree 100%. Ernie he covered all the bases, so to speak. You know, talking about coming from Rochester, the difficult climb to the big leagues. His welcome to the big league moment happened in his first at bat, and the thrill of hitting his first home run, actually his first 2 home runs in the same game, and just really a grounded, balanced young man. And I think he has a good message for parents, athletes, and anybody that'll listen about how he got there. Not everybody's journey is different, but and Ernie's is much different from some because he didn't do the sports specialization route. And a lot of times people can be talked into giving up things that they really like and love, and Ernie didn't do that, and he ended up at the top of his profession.
I also love the underdog part of it. When someone told him, "You're not big enough to play D1, young man," and he went out that weekend and hit 3 dingers. So
$150 soaking wet.
Yeah, so Ernie Clement's going to be on the program too. Thanks, Ernie, for doing that. We hope to connect with some of our NBA stars from Section 5 later on this month, so hopefully we can hook that up. And then we're going to finish off after we do, our G&G Fitness Coach of the Week and our Bob Johnson Auto Athletes of the Week. We are going to talk some Spencerport girls soccer. And Steve, I've covered Section 5 soccer for 25 plus years, and I thought the Gary Page years of the Aquinas girls soccer was going to be the pinnacle, like no one would ever match that. They won 3 straight state titles in the late 90s and early 2000s. I think it was 99, 2000, 2001. Spencerport has won 3 state titles in the last 10 years, and they're going for a 6th straight Section 5 title. They've had unbeaten seasons, Steve. We're gonna tell you later on. They've had like 3 unbeaten seasons in the last 5 years. It's incredible what they've done.
Gold standard right now.
Yeah, 104 wins, only 4 losses and 9 ties. They're a juggernaut. We're going to have on Coach Jamie Schneider and one of their senior forwards, Bre DeHond, who's having a breakout senior season. And we'll talk about the Rangers formula, Steve, about how they're doing it and how they've built this powerhouse. Pretty impressive stuff. But let's start with the Pittsburgh Pub game of the week. You were there in Batavia, 27-26 to HFL Cougars, matchup of 5-0 teams, and HFL was down 20-7, right, Steve? I thought they're done.
No, they weren't done. They were down 20-7 late first half, and put together a great drive to score to get it to 20-13 at halftime, and then HFL had the ball. It's the old kind of the Patriots, the double dip. You score right before halftime, you come out. Opening drive of the second half, they score. It's 20-20, and from there down the stretch, Batavia went in front 26 20. HFL scores early in the fourth and then held on. Both teams made a lot of fantastic plays. And both teams have some things to clean up. And we've talked to both coaches in recent times, and we know how they're both at Brennan Briggs from Batavia, John Russ at HFL. They're both proud alums. They've built great programs. And, my biggest takeaway from this game is that I thought it might offer some clarity in Class B. But really, I think it throws that third team with Wayne in the mix. HFL has won by 1 point 2 of the last 3 weeks. Road games at Wayne and at Batavia. So Cougars at 6-0 do have the best record, but it could make sectionals even more interesting than they thought they might be.
Let's get some stats here. Bre DeHond, 19 of 27 through the air, 3 touchdowns, 183 yards. Zach Meacham doing his thing, 22 carries, busy, 85 yards, 1 touchdown running, 1 touchdown receiving. Big Ben Carson, 6 for 75 through the air, 1 touchdown. Nolan Smith, 5 grabs for 43 yards and a touchdown. And JT Killenbeck also really great on defense, Steve.
Hey, he made the play of the game. Batavia had a receiver behind the HFL defense with about a minute left, 4th and 7 from around the 30-yard line. JT closed on it, knocked the ball away, and HFL was able to go into victory formation. Coach Russ has told us that, told me that JT might be the best athlete on the team. If they got him the ball in space on offense, he made some plays there, and then came through on defense when his team really needed him.
And for Batavia, Aiden Anderson, a good night on the ground, 12 rushes, 163 yards, couple touchdowns, and through the air, the quarterback, Jesse Reinhardt, 9 of 12 for 125 yards. He also rushed for 40 yards and a touchdown, too.
And Aiden Anderson, Jeff, just flat-out speed. If there is an HFL Batavia rematch, I think Aiden Anderson will see the ball a little bit more because HFL struggled to contain him once he broke through the first level.
Do it ready? He gets to the edge, Steve. He's
gone.
Gone. I knew you were going to. Dan Patrick, right? Gone.
Gone. Like a fastball to Kevin Mitchell. Gone. But the other thing, too, we can't leave this game without a shout-out to the 1991 Batavia team that was honored there. State champions. Coach John Crite was at the game, 83 years old. Looking good. Those guys were one of the first teams I covered as a young reporter. And
I did too, as an outfielder, as a part-timer for the DNC, yeah.
Seeing them there. But this game, everything you wanted. And that atmosphere at the new Vendetta Stadium, just fantastic. Sound system, crowd was into it, just a great atmosphere. And, I'd love to see those two teams play again down the road, but I think Coach Marine and Wayne will have something to say about it.
All right, let's roll on here. Class A1, Brighton went to Irondequoit, 30-15 winners. I will tell you, the Eagles had a chance there, about 5.5 minutes to go to get it into the end zone and make it a one-score game. And this is an Irondequoit team that certainly believes it can come back. And they actually had a 4th and inches from the 5-yard line penalty, pushed them back, and then couldn't convert on 4th from inside the 10, from the 10-yard line. And then Brighton got the ball back and ran out the clock, basically. But Brennan Klaskins, again, 2 touchdowns rushing, 131 yards, 18 carries. He threw a touchdown pass. And Tosh Jackson, 108 on the ground, Steve. The Bruins will probably finish 7-0. They got to play against Gates Chalet next week. Yeah,
and Brighton has done everything right this year. And that kind of segues into our first guest when we get there. UPrep, you mentioned earlier the 30-6 win at Schrader. Rakeem Chenier, another huge night with 310 yards on the ground, 24 carries, 4 touchdowns. And Sherrod Watkins, who will be joining us, 6.5 tackles, including 3 tackles for loss. So right there, you got to love that UPrep is trending in the right direction. Class A2.
Yeah, this was a
this game was don't let the score fool you, right?
31-13, Canandaigua over Spencerport out in Canandaigua. This game was 10-10 at the half, and Canandaigua just took advantage early in the third quarter. Big punt return to set up a score, and then it was 17-13. Couple field goals by a freshman from Spencerport, and Cam Mesh with 156 yards. And even John Dowd said it in the story I read. He said, "We're pretty proud of what we did here. This was a ball game. This was a late score for Canandaigua, made it 31-13, but this is a tough game." It is, and it's really a measuring stick, right? Is to, again, a Class A game, so there's one more week in the regular season, and then we get into sectionals. And, you wonder if, with the Spencerport offense, if Spencerport gets ahead, they're very difficult to catch. They hung in. The thing I think that is really helped to set Canandaigua apart this season is the special teams play, the explosiveness. So
But now both teams have seen each other. They know what game speed is like. They'll see it on film. And if they're fortunate enough to meet again, you just hope the game is as good as this one was.
I kind of hope they do.
I do too.
Canandaigua was 6-0, Spenceport 5-1. Brian Boldrin, the quarterback for the Braves, 10 of 12 through the air, 192 yards. He also caught a touchdown pass, but it was a big punt return that really got the thing switched over to them. So it was Elliott Morgan, 71 yards on the punt return early in the third quarter, and they took it in. Boldrin took it in for the touchdown there. And then another big pass play, 65 yards. Boldrin, Eric Platt did most of it, cutting through the defense, but great job by the Braves. And
they have a tough one next week. I mean, we talk about teams that are trending in the right direction. You got to look at East. The East Eagles World of Inquiry team, 40-12 winners over Greece Athena. Marcus Robertson, 121 yards on the ground, and Canandaigua goes to East on Friday night. They've met in the sectional final before. Canandaigua prevailed down at Hobart a couple years ago. So that game will be a good last regular season team for both as they get ready for sectionals. Before
we mention the unbeaten small school game there, well, let's roll through quickly. AA. McQuaid 34-6 over Hilton, no problems there. John Mahar doing what he does, 3 touchdowns through the air. McQuaid and Aquinas next week, Steve. That certainly will be our game of the week, Friday night at St. John Fisher. We hope to have both coaches on next Saturday's show. Aquinas 36, Victor 14, second straight win this season for the Little Irish over Victor. And Victor 2-4. That just looks weird.
2 of those games, yeah, you're right. It does a little bit, but 2 of those games were Aquinas. The thing I take away from this game is the first game went to overtime, so it was 19-14 for Aquinas. So the margin is greater, so it kind of shows you that maybe Aquinas has improved. And we were talking about the Aquinas ground game last week. The Little Irish had 350 yards on the ground. This week, Mikkel White, the quarterback, 12 of 14 through the air, 154 yards, 4 touchdowns. And Terrell Richards, 2 touchdown catches for the Irish. I think, you never know in a rivalry game. I'm not going to tell you that one of those teams is favored because whoever plays best is going to win. But to have, McQuaid deserves first billing. They're the 2-time sectional champs, and for so long it was Aquinas. But if Aquinas can attack both on the ground and in the air, that should make that game even better than we hope.
Interesting, very interesting. One more AA score. Monroe loses to Pittsford. The Panthers 43-13. They go to 4-2. All right, Oakfield, Alabama, Elba, the Aggies, 24-7, pretty decisively over Avon, Steve.
Yeah, that jumped out. And Livingston County football for a long time has been some of the best small school football in the state. Oakfield, Alabama, and Elba, 2 Genesee region teams traditionally combined together. So it's really 2 districts, but that's impressive. Noah Courier, 2 touchdowns to go into Avon and win on the road. Statement game for the Aggies. Class D, that could be a preview of the sectionals. And last week, Jeff, let's just bop back up to Class B and Class C because there's a great game coming next week, a crossover game. Wayne gets it done 35-8, I believe, over Wilson. Dylan Vance, huge game on the ground for the Eagles. I've already spoken how I think that they have kind of, put themselves clearly in that Class B challenging picture. Nobody can look past that team. East Rochester Gananda, we had Coach Brian Tarango on last week. Yeah, they won 40-0, but they play Wayne next week. So that's just a game that's going to impact.
That's game of the week B.
And power seedings in both divisions. Wayne had a game last week that wasn't played because of COVID. So all of the math is going to be skewed a little bit because they've only played 7 games with the power seedings. So that game between ER and Wayne is going to impact, could determine who go, maybe does Batavia drop to a 2 or a 3 in B and have to go on the road?
There would be no math.
Yeah. Well, you need to wait till the end. But every game matters.
You are locked in.
Every game matters, and that game is certainly one to circle next week.
All right, well, one we had circled that didn't turn out to be very competitive was, let's bring on our first set of guests from the UPrep, University Preparatory School for Young Men, the UPrep Griffins. Their second-year head coach, Isiah Young, joins us in the bottom left corner of your screen. And up at the top, we've got the Hotrod, Sharod Watkins, joins us 30-6. over Schroeder at their homecoming, and 22-0 at the half. Coach Young, I know you didn't see that coming, but how confident were you that you guys were going to be able to lay the wood to Schroeder?
I told the guys all week, we play to our ability level. Kind of saw in the second half of Gates that, I think we're going to be a very, very tough team to beat in this section. And they came out almost like it was their homecoming. So, it worked out for us.
Now, Hotrod, you're a lineman. A lot of people think you're the best lineman in Section 5, if not the state. Your guy, Rakeem Chenier, second straight week with over 300 yards. You guys up front are getting the job done. Can you talk about how Rakeem has just kind of put his game together the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I just tell him, trust us. We're going to get in the end zone. Just do your job. We got you.
Well, he was great 2 weeks in a row. He had 307 yards last week at Salem at the big stadium. That was a school record. And last night, tremendous. 24 carries, 310 yards, averaged almost 13 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns. He was our athlete of the week last week. I couldn't do it 2 weeks in a row, but he was right there to win it again. Clyde Davis Jr., quarterback, 10 of 17 through the air, 84 yards. He did have a pick, but 59% completion percentage. You guys are hitting on all cylinders, Coach, and you're doing it without Jordan Jackson, who unfortunately is lost to the season with a leg injury. You're averaging almost 30 points a game without him. Who has stepped up without that young man? Because we know how dynamic he was. Him and Hotrod, both AGR picks last year. But who stepped to the forefront without Mr. Jackson in the lineup?
There's a few guys, but for me, it's just offensive line play. They're really clicking at the right time for us, and we watch the games. You rake him, he's a big kid, but there's some plays he gets the ball and he's not getting touched for 5 yards. So you get a kid that big, he's not being touched for the first 5 yards of the carry. It's tough on the defense to make a tackle at that point. So.
Yeah, he gets ahead of steam. That's a big guy to bring down, right?
He's got the stiff arm work and everything. It's get out of the way. Coach, Hotrod, he's been AGR the previous 2 years, dominant player. Could you just talk about his strengths and what makes him such a force? Because a lot of times linemen don't jump off the page, but he certainly does.
Yeah, I think he's a combination of size and athleticism. Guys his size they can't move the way he does, which is what really makes him special. And he's also, it's a smart football player on the field. He's been doing it for quite a bit of time. He's got a ton of varsity reps, and that pays off at the end.
Sharod, who gave you the name Hotrod?
Sharod, you visited Syracuse last month. You had some photos there. Your recruiting process, where are you there, and what are you looking for in a school at the next level?
I want the family love, feel like I'm at a family. Just the love, the support. Like I'm at home again.
I want to also ask you, Sharod, did you see the picture that our former colleague Jamie Germano put in the Democratic Chronicle? A great picture of you going like this.
Yeah.
Have you seen that yet?
Yes.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. He was 6.5 tackles last night, 3 tackles for a loss. Quantel Green Jr., 3.5 tackles. He had an interception return, 25 yards, a couple of pass breakups, 1 tackle for a loss. Mark McClary, 5.5 tackles last night. Sheed Smith, 3.5. Getting lots of contributions, Coach. This swarming defense, I know everyone wants to put the ball in the end zone, but are you a defensive coach? Are you an offensive coach? Are you a little bit of both, Isiah?
Yeah, I'm an offensive coach. I'm the OC as well. My younger brother is our defensive coordinator, and he does a great job. He played at UAlbany. He kind of brought what he did there here in the past 2-3 years. Defense has been great. It creates a lot of turnovers and really sets the tone for what we do offensively. At the end of the day, the game's about scoring more points than the other team. So if they don't score a lot of points, we're generally going to be in a pretty good position. So defense is always a huge emphasis for us.
Coach, one of the things I've noticed about you on social media is you've done a good job of getting your players' highlights out there, getting them recognition. That's a part of the job that's kind of evolved as a head coach and made it, kind of a year-round job in the last few years. Why is it important to you to showcase your players and so other people can see what kind of talent's at UPrep?
First off, I think myself and a lot of people, I think New York State football is under-recruited for whatever reason it may be. But, we're not in the, so-called hotbeds of California, Georgia, Alabama, those places. So to get our guys exposure on social media is just huge in terms of recruitment and getting them out there and the potential to, play Division I, Division II, or Division III football. Without, honestly, social media, it'd be a lot harder. Social media is a great tool, and if it's used correctly, can definitely get kids some looks that they wouldn't normally have gotten in previous years.
You're going to hear later on in this program, Ernie Clement actually mentions that he thinks social media helped him get noticed. He ended up going to Division I Virginia. His freshman year, Virginia wins the national championship. So he actually said that he thinks social media helped him get noticed. So that's really cool that you do that for your players and for your program. Let me go back to Sharod for a second. Sharod, where do you see yourself playing at the next level? Are you lineman? Are you going to try to get a little? And you move well, right? Could you play linebacker? You tell me.
Well, it all depends on where I go, really.
Do you have a preference?
Yeah, do you have a preference, offense, defense? I mean, I saw you pick up a loose ball and ramble down the field a couple games ago. You look like a guy that was hungry for the end zone.
I love defense, but it seems like I'm getting a lot of recruitment and a lot of love at O-line. So if I got to go O-line, I just go O-line.
Do you have the feet? Is that what they like about you? Because Coach mentioned and Jeff, college coaches always talk about the feet on the O-line, but on defense you just seem to wreak such havoc. What are they telling you make you a good fit on offense?
Fast. I'm physical, real physical.
So you move really well. How tall are you? Can I ask that?
I'm 6 foot.
And is it okay if I ask how much you weigh?
Was that all right?
Okay, so Coach, is there a play in the book? Have we seen this man carry the ball this year? I mean, if I said the words William the Refrigerator Perry, do we know who the Refrigerator Perry is? Coach, do you know who the Refrigerator Perry is?
I absolutely do, and I think Sharod's hopes of carrying the ball were crushed when he fumbled the Roddy Quaid in Penfield.
Oh.
Recoveries.
He's not in the goal line package anymore?
Oh, he's in the goal line package, just on the offensive line.
Sharod, I would not. It's a secret weapon. Now that you've fumbled a couple times, now it'd be such a surprise to put you in the backfield. I think it's still in the works.
We want to see this, and 55 reporting is eligible. How about a touchdown pass?
Something, huh?
Well, listen, you guys got you've had a great season, 27-7 over Penfield, and that was a loss last year that kept you out of the playoffs. How much did that bother you guys on the offseason, Sharod?
Bothered us a lot. That would made us want to work harder, want to beat them. So we got that revenge back.
And, you played a great game with Brighton, Sharod. Brighton is 6-0 right now, and I know people don't like to get too far ahead of themselves, but that 21-19 game was also the game that you lost one of your best players. How has your team responded and gotten there, and how much would it mean to you to get that second shot at Brighton down the road?
Right now, we're taking game by game who we play next, not ahead, because that's how you lose concentration.
Coached him well. He's coached well. Hey, guys, thanks for making some time for us this morning. We appreciate it. UPrep football is a contender, and we'll see. Maybe we'll talk to you again in a few weeks after you guys are holding a brick. All right?
All right, appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Coach Young. Thanks you. You're the first guy in 19 years I've ever had on the program named Hotrod, so history made this morning. Thank you, Hotrod.
All right, have a good one.
All right, UPrep football right here on our specialties hotline, our Skype line. Specialties, great company down in Geneseo. We're gonna get some quarter zips. I know you want one, Steve.
We gotta get some gear. We got to do it.
By the way, this pullover, 2003. That's some staying power.
18 years old, man.
All right, we're going to go into our first break, come back. We'll tell you about our Athletes of the Week and our Coach of the Week. Before we do that, I want to tell you about Bath Fitter. Great company. It's a national company, but it just knocks it out of the park locally. These are local people doing the work, and every year, Bath Fitter is one of the top sales in the country. Right here in Rochester, because they do great work, and we know it's a small town. You're going to get word of mouth. They can remake your bathroom in one day. If you need it done that quickly, they can do that, or they can do it over time. Ask them about financing. Give them a call, 617-0007. Tell them you heard about it right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Break number 1 heading your way. You're watching the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show on Rock Sports now.
Looking for a used truck? Can you find one out of 350? At BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com, you'll find one. Love SUVs? 800 are waiting for you to take one home at BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com. at 350 pre-owned sedans, and you've got a total of 1,500 used vehicles only at BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com.
Bob Johnson's got you right. Bob Johnson.
While we celebrate 140 years of serving our community, the kind of delicious joy that lasts a lifetime, we look forward to serving you for 140 more. With hardworking, wholehearted, passionate people who will help shape new memories for generations to come.
When it comes to workers' comp, things can change quickly.
The only way to make sure your rights are protected is to have a trusted, committed attorney on your side.
An attorney who has devoted their career to helping injured workers.
Someone to fight for the money and medical benefits you deserve.
The only person on your side
is the attorney at your side.
Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorney.
The best three things here at McQuaid are definitely the sports, the brotherhood, and the service to community. I think that's a really big, important thing that McQuaid stresses, which is part of creating a better and great man. You definitely feel a connection with your fellow students here. It's being all-guy school. You're able to relate to each other on a personal level, and everyone's very welcoming here with open arms and willing to be your friend.
Local McDonald's operators care about our local schools, teams, and student athletes. That's why they support the return of high school athletics in the Rochester area and around the state. See you before or after the big game at McDonald's. Welcome back, Section 5. Game on!
In these challenging times, our dedicated team at American Custom continues to provide top-quality installations to every customer. With guidelines and restrictions changing daily, we apply attention to every detail. You can trust our team to make sure the job is done right.
Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Time for our awards, our Bob Johnson Auto Athletes of the Week. Fantastic. Our families drive Bob Johnson vehicles. Great place. They're taking over Rochester, Steve. How about you tell us about our Girls Athlete of the Week, Mr. Bradley?
Yes, it's Trinity Wells, a senior at Newark High School. She logged the fastest time among high school Section 5 high school girls at the McQuaid Invitational last week, Jeff. The new 3-mile course at Genesee Valley Park, Trinity finished in 18:22.4 to earn the Katie Harper Memorial Plaque. She was also second in her race, which was the girls' varsity race for medium schools. Trinity's been a fixture on the cross-country scene, track scene, one of the best distance runners in the section, so congratulations to her.
Fingers crossed that we still have the state championships, and I hope we do. She's a contender for a state championship, so congrats to Trinity Wells from Newark. On the boys' side, we're going to go with a soccer player from Brockport. The Blue Devils have won 4 in a row to go to 9-5. Jacob Miller, the senior forward, he had 8 goals this week in 3 wins. Couple hat tricks, one over the Wilson Monroe team, one against Greece Athena, by the way, which is stunningly like a 2-win team right now, Greece Athena. And he also had a couple of goals against Canandaigua. He is tied in Monroe County for the most goals with our guy from last week, Miles Palmer, with 20 goals. So congrats to Jacob Miller from Brockport, our boys' athlete of the week, and Trinity Wells from Newark, our girls' athlete of the week. Our G&G Fitness Coach of the Week honors a coach that not only knows how to coach wins and losses, but is a good developer of young people. And certainly what Mike Ellicott of Hilton Boys Soccer has done out there in Cadet Nation has been fantastic. This was a program that hadn't won a state or Section 5 title since 1987. His first year on the job, Steve, in 2015, they win sectionals and go, I think, all the way to the state final. They also won sectionals in 2017 and league titles in 2018 for sectionals, division titles in 17 and 18. He's a native of England. He knows the game, but it's more than just his accent that tells those kids that he knows what he's talking about. But they've really bought into it. Coach Geritzi has some really great things to say. And last night, a big win over Penfield, 2-1. Hilton is 11-1-1, and you got Penfield, you got Fairport, and you got Hilton as a contender in Class A, AA soccer. So congrats to Mike Ellicott from Hilton Boys Soccer, our G&G Fitness Coach of the Week. Please hit us up on Twitter, send me an email. Nominate a coach. We'd love to get some nominations from you folks.
It was just National Coaches Appreciation Day this week, so that was a great opportunity, and you saw a lot of motivational stuff about just the impact coaches make in people's lives, and we kind of saw that last night in Batavia, right? John Crite, 30 years later, all these guys surrounded around him. He talked about how proud he was of them, and I know that he made a big difference in their lives too.
We both know how important coaches are in the lives of young people and how much of a difference they can make. So please support G&G Fitness for sponsoring our Coach of the Week so we can tell you about all the great people in our area who are leaders of young men and women. We will take another break, come back. You're gonna hear from Ernie Clement, Cleveland Indians
Ernie
infielder. Clement.
Come on, man. He's a major leaguer. We got to do it. And I broke a rule. I corrected you on the air, but
you can always correct me. I'm a very big fan of correcting.
Okay.
I really am. It's you. I don't want to be wrong.
Ernie Clement. He's a major leaguer.
My apologies, Ernie. Ernie Clement up next, right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show on Rock Sports Now.
I'm a biomedical sciences major. My goal is to one day open up my own pediatric office. I want to create an environment almost similar to the environment that Roberts creates for me. I want them to walk into the doctor's office and feel love. When I got here, I was just like, yeah, this is home. This is where I need to be. Be prepared for an adventure, be prepared for a journey, and enjoy the journey.
Started on the spot cleaners in 2001. I saw that my kids were crawling on the carpets and I thought, what is in these carpets? Later that year in the fall, I started to notice my daughter's allergies peak. After some allergy testing, we realized there'd be a benefit to having our ducts cleaned. As a business owner, we took the certification necessary, performed the service in our home, and immediately saw results and thought this is going to be fantastic for our business and our customers. The duct cleaning process uses a HEPA filtration vacuum that will draw air through the ductwork. We have truck-mounted air compressors that blow whips and rods through the ductwork to move and dislodge the debris. We apply an antimicrobial treatment for odor and bacteria when we're completed. We protect your furnace with zone bags so that way no debris will fall over the furnace heat exchangers. The benefits of air duct cleaning is pretty simple. Your indoor air quality traps a lot of dust and allergens. Once we're done with the cleaning, you have a cleaner, fresher home.
Why do you exercise? To look better? To feel better? To drop a few pounds? To train for an event? To defy age? Or to keep your ability to say yes to the things you love to do? Whatever motivates you, G&G Fitness Equipment is here to get you there. Treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, bikes, home gyms, and accessories. We'll pair you with the right equipment, teach you how to use it, and be there every step of your fitness journey. G&G Fitness. Your goal is our goal.
The College Dollar is a local company that gives parents the information they need to help their children make good decisions about their college choice. With more than 10 years of experience, the College Dollar has been helping families understand the complexities of paying for college without overwhelming debt and what to do when it's time to pay back college loans. With college debt reaching $1.85 trillion, everyone needs help. Visit thecollegedollar.com and connect for a free 15-minute conversation about saving you college dollars. And consider attending one of their upcoming seminars to hear the inside scoop on scholarships, grants, and loans.
Baby, sweet baby, oh baby,
Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. It's Chef DiVeronica and Steve Bradley welcoming on I'm going to call him one of the greatest players in Section 5 baseball history, Steve. What a tremendous career he had at Brighton, and now a Major League Baseball player. Ernie Clement joins us now on the Special Tees Hotline. Good afternoon, Ernie. How are you?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. It's a real thrill to have you, especially so close to the season ending.
Yeah, it's good to be back in Rochester, so I'm hanging out.
So tell us, just what's it like to be a major leaguer? I mean, dreams coming true. How does it? Do you ever just pinch yourself still?
Oh, all the time. I'm a lucky guy. I get to play baseball. I get to play a game for a living. So it's been a dream of mine since I was a little kid. You know, I don't take a second out there for granted. It's really, really awesome.
Well, Ernie, when you got the call, where were you and how did you react? Because it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah, so the first time I got the call, we were in Columbus. I was with the AAA team. And they were like, hey, you're going to go up and be the 27th man on the roster for their doubleheader. And so I went up. It was against the Blue Jays. I went up. I didn't play. So I just kind of hung out for the day and then drove back. So I thought I was like get into the game, and I ended up, just being an extra guy on the bench. But it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. And then the first time I ever actually got into the game, I got called back up a few weeks later. We were in where were we? We were in Iowa. We were playing the Iowa Cubs, and I had I had to wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning to fly to Cleveland. Because we were playing the Mariners that night, and I happened to get a pinch hit late in the game against one of the best relievers in baseball, Kendall Graveman, and he struck me out really easily. But it was such a dream come true. I was just lucky to be there, and I had a blast.
But then your first hit came 2 days later, June 15th against the Orioles. Matt Harvey, a big name, a big time pitcher. What was it like to get your first hit in the major leagues and start your first game? That day must be some day that you're going to remember forever.
Do you remember the pitch? Was it a curveball, fastball?
Oh yeah, I remember that bat. It was a curveball away, and I poked one up the middle with a guy. There was a guy in second base, so there was a guy in scoring position, and I was just trying to get him in. And it was really cool because I prepared a lot for that game. They told me in advance that I was going to be starting that game against the Orioles, so I had a lot of time to prepare for Matt Harvey, and it was just a lot of fun to help the squad win. It was awesome. It was a dream come true again.
40 games this season with Cleveland, 231 batting average, 28 hits, 16 runs, 121 at-bats. You started games at second, third, short, left field. The value of a utility player is fantastic. When did you start thinking this was possible? When did you go to Virginia, you win a national championship as a freshman, so obviously, now it's, you're on the map, right? You're already, and now
fourth round pick too.
Fourth round pick. But what you remember when were you 12 or 15, where somebody said, kid, you might have what it takes?
Well, I think it's really cool because my mindset has always been to take care of what's in front of me and be where my feet are. So when I was in high school, all I wanted to do was play college, but because being from Rochester, New York, you don't really think about, playing in the major leagues. Like, it was a dream of mine as a kid, but, it's so hard, and there's so few people that end up playing in the major leagues that, I wanted to go to college and I wanted to play. I wanted to be on the field as much as I could. So, in high school, I played hard, and, I tried to be a good teammate to all my guys out there, and I was lucky to get an opportunity in Virginia. Then in Virginia, it was the same thing. I just wanted to play. I wanted to play hard. I wanted to work my tail off and try and be a really good teammate to those guys. And, it really never came, I never thought it was going to get – I didn't think I was going to get drafted until after I played in Cape Cod, and I had a really good summer there. And, my coaches are like, hey, dude, you're on these guys' draft boards. They want to have meetings. All these major league teams want to have meetings with you. And I'm just it's nuts. So, I couldn't believe it. And, And then, I get drafted. And again, I'm like, why not keep the same approach like that I've had my whole career? Like, why not just, work hard, try and be a really good teammate, and, whatever happens, happens. Because, I got to take care of the controllables, and there's going to be a lot of things that, you can't really control. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be guys that get traded that are now ahead of you and stuff like that. But, I've just tried to be a good teammate and really enjoy the ride. So, to make it up there this year was just awesome.
Sounds like Ernie, Sean McDermott, humble and hungry, right?
Humble and hungry. And one thing, too, about Ernie, he was a 3-sport varsity athlete in high school. And in this day and age, when so many people specialize in one sport and there's repetitive use injuries and everything, maybe, Ernie, a message for our high school athletes about, why you play 3 sports and why you think it's important to be versatile and do other things.
Yeah, there's no way I would be the athlete that I am today without hockey and soccer and growing up playing golf, lacrosse, basketball. I mean, I literally played every sport possible, and it was so much fun. And then once baseball season came around, I loved it even more because, I hadn't played in forever. So instead of, playing baseball all year round where I might have gotten burnt out, I was doing other things and trying other sports and other activities. And, I had such a blast with hockey. And, I really do think that helped a ton with, with my baseball and becoming more athletic.
You're also a part of kind of an uptick in Rochester baseball. Matt Dreyer opens up Diamond Pro a few years ago. Danny Mendick and you are 2 position players in the majors. Why do you think that Rochester players have come onto the national spotlight a little bit more? And who were some of your biggest influences in baseball that helped you to get where you are, especially people from your hometown?
Yeah, I mean, the coaches that I had and my parents, they helped me so much. I had to do a lot of traveling because when I was, coming up in the baseball world, there wasn't all these Diamond Pro teams that, played in all the big tournaments. I had to travel to Buffalo to join the East Coast Grays and then travel down to Florida. And it was crazy because I only played the Babe Ruth and I played with Rayson Miller too and then Legion Ball. So I really didn't do a whole lot of traveling early on, but, in order to get seen and get exposure, you do have to get out and get your name out there. So, I think social media these days is playing a huge role in all these kids getting exposure from Rochester and from the Northeast. So, you're going to see more and more because there's so many talented athletes, not just in baseball, from Rochester. So, I think it's just going to keep growing.
Talk with Ernie Clement, 2014 graduate of Brighton. He's 25 years old now. He played soccer, hockey, and baseball. When did you know baseball was going to be your thing?
Yeah, I'd like to say I always knew because I always loved baseball the most. Like I said, I got to play every sport growing up, and baseball was always my favorite. So, if I could have chose back then, it would be baseball. And I think I knew. It took me a while to realize that I was actually probably better at baseball than all the other sports.
Yeah, I don't know. Without the training he got, I mean, I'm not the specialized training that players get nowadays. 15 years ago, I don't know if you make it to Virginia. I don't know if you make it. I think the specialized training, and I'm a big proponent of Steve. Steve would leave work sometimes, and he's like, I got to bring Bobby, his son, over to, it'd be like April. He'd be like, I got to take him over to hockey tryouts. And I'm like, hockey tryouts? And I'm not a big proponent of these seasons crossing over like this, but I think the training helped you guys. I think it really helped you get noticed, get exposure, and certainly become better. So props to you for taking advantage of that, to your family for giving you those opportunities. I know we're real proud of all you guys, be it the guys that are in the NBA now, guys in the major leagues. I mean, I just look at you as like this Rocky Balboa underdog, and you made it. What advice would you give to a young kid who... Did anyone ever tell you you can't do it, Ernie? And did that ever light a fire under you?
Yeah, it's actually really funny. I'm not going to name any names or anything, but I did have a coach. I did have a coach while I was trying to get seen by Division I schools to tell me that I'm a little too small, and if I'm not putting the ball over the fence, then it's going to be really hard for me to get a Division I offer. And That weekend I had a tournament and I ended up hitting like 3 or 4 home runs, and I mean I was a $150 soaking wet. I was probably a little bit smaller than that, but I had a really good weekend, and it was that weekend that I got offered to the University of Virginia. So my like biggest thing is like right place, right time. Anything can happen. So all you can do is control the controllables, play hard, be a good teammate, and have a lot of fun, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You just got to trust the process and work your tail off.
Speaking of home runs, and speaking of being a good teammate, you hit 3 home runs this season. The first 2 came in the same game in August in Detroit, and your teammates got you pretty good on your first home run, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Well, first of all, they were awesome when I hit it. They were all really happy, and they greeted me when I got to the dugout, so I was really psyched about that. They were really cool about it. And I don't know, I didn't think I was ever going to get one, so I was pretty pumped about it. And then after the game, I had the coach, one of my coaches, one of my hitting coaches, Justin Toole, came up to me, and he gave me a ball, and it had ketchup and mustard all over it. And he's like, "Dude, you won't believe your first home run ball landed in this guy's hot dog." And so he gave me the ball, and I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to do with this?" And he's like, "No, I'm just kidding. I got the real ball for you." It was a good little laugh, but it was really cool.
Who's the toughest pitcher you faced so far in the big leagues?
Oh,
if there is one, maybe there isn't just one.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind when people ask me that is my first at bat ever. It was Kendall Graveman, who is just a nightmare of a matchup for any right-handed hitter, because he throws these 97-mile-an-hour sinkers, and they just ride in on your hands, and then he's got a nasty slider. So it was not the best matchup for me in the world, and I was coming in to pinch hit. We were down like 4 runs in the 9th, and I did not expect to get in the game. So I would have to say he would probably be the hardest one, given the circumstance and how good he is overall.
You said $150 soaking wet when you were a young guy. What do you weigh now?
I'm like right around 190.
So he put on 40 pounds, probably most of it muscle, maturity, that kind of thing. Ernie, kids love to hit, love to take batting practice, but you're known for your defense. I mean, Cal Quantrill called you your favorite player on the team this year because of the runs that you've saved them. And defense isn't glorious, but maybe talk about how you embrace that role of becoming an excellent defensive player and the work ethic and the competitive fire that you have, because you've carved a niche for yourself.
Yeah, so my first year at Virginia, I didn't really hit a whole lot either. So, I had to change the game in other ways. So I had to play really good defense. I had to base run. I had to bunt. I had to do all the small details that don't exactly show up on the stat sheet. So that was a really, really good, it helped me a lot to learn how to play the game that way. Because once I started to hit a little bit more through my career, just to have those kind of things in the back pocket are so huge. Because it's simple. Like if you can't hit, you're not gonna play. You're not gonna play in the big leagues. These days, you have to be able to hit. There's not a ton of value in only being a defender. So I take pride in my hitting and the work I've put in there. But when you can save the game and change the game on defense and do the little things, it really does make a huge difference. It's just another added weapon to have, because there's everybody hits these days in the big leagues. So when you find a guy who can play defense and play multiple positions, it really does have value. So I won't say that defense is my only thing, but the fact that I can help the guys win and help make plays behind our awesome pitching staff, that's going to help me get on the field for sure.
3-time pick for All Greater Rochester while at Brighton.
In baseball and 1 in hockey.
1 in hockey. And I'm not sure if you know this, but you're the All Greater Rochester Baseball Player of the Decade, named in 2020 by the Democrat Chronicle. They did an all-decade team. Career batting average of .464. Also school records for singles, 87, doubles, 34, stolen bases, 38, and a single season average of .560. Ernie, thanks for making the time for us. What's the off-season plan for you like?
So I'm going to be hanging out in Rochester for a little while. I think I'll probably end up going down south to Florida or Arizona for a month or two, kind of leading up to the season. But for now and through the holidays, I'll be hanging out in Roch.
I got one last question because I was this Cal Ripken guy growing up, Steve.
Sure, it's got to be who's his favorite player.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
So I was a huge Yankees fan growing up. I was a big Derek Jeter guy.
Okay.
I don't think my teammates would like to hear that now, but I always loved Derek Jeter. I love how he played. I love how he handled himself. He was a singles guy like myself. So I loved Derek Jeter and the Yankees, but they got their butts beat last night by the Sox, so that's kind of tough.
Talk about a guy who did a lot of little things that made them all add up. You're a lot like Jeter in that regard, young man. So congrats on your success. We wish you nothing but the best. Trust the process, and he's been doing it and it's working. So Ernie Clement, thanks for taking some time.
Guys, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll take another break, come back. You're watching the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show on Rock Sports Now.
Whether you come here as a sixth grader or a ninth grader, you have to spend your 4, 5, 6 years here and just get involved in so many different things. And then you're going to go out and set fire on the earth. When you get through McQuaid Jesuit, you're not going to fail when you get out in the world.
Tell you about my friends at Bath Fitter. 30 years across the country they've been doing this stuff. 20 plus years in Rochester. You don't have that kind of longevity without treating your customers right, doing great quality work. Please check them out online, bathfitter.com. Call the local office at 617-0007. It's Bath Fitter Rochester. Don't be a DIY diva and try to do it yourself. Don't screw it up. Let the pros do it. Remodel with confidence. Remodel with Bath Fitter. And please tell them you heard about it right here from Jeff DiVeronica on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. We're brought to you by Salvador's Pizza.
There are plenty of professional sports teams in Rochester, but there's also a lot of great high school sports action in each town in our area. When's the last time you checked out a high school game? Section 5 sports are about more than just wins and losses. They're about teaching teamwork, dedication, and discipline. So support the kids who play for your school. Get out and watch a high school game today. For more information, including schedules, rosters, and stats, visit section5.org. That's sectionv.org. Brought to you by the Monroe County League and Section 5.
In doing the work you do, if you're hurt, we'll help you through.
Don't be fooled. Video hearings are as critical as appearing in person. Make sure your rights are protected. Your employer has trained specialists on their side, and the judges work for New York State. The only person on your side is the attorney at your side.
Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys.
Get in the game at Rochester Regional Health Total Sports Experience. TSC micro programs are a jump start to an active lifestyle. Programs start at age 2, where kids learn the fundamentals of team sports in a fun and friendly environment. Celebrate a birthday or special occasion with the whole team. Our event staff can coordinate a super fun day, from gameplay to party room. Book it today. Adult leagues and tournaments are offered in soccer, lacrosse, and more. 2 Rochester locations. Visit totalsports-experience.com.
Local McDonald's operators care about our local schools, teams, and student athletes. That's why they support the return of high school athletics in the Rochester area and around the state. See you before or after the big game at McDonald's. Welcome back, Section 5. Game on!
Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. I'm Jeff DiVeronica. He's Steve Bradley. Our next set of guests on our specialties Skype hotline are from Spencerport Girls Soccer. The Rangers are going after a 6th straight Section 5 title. They have been the team of the decade, really, for girls soccer in Section 5. Steve Bradley, Coach Schneider is with us, Coach Jamie Schneider, and senior forward Bre DeHond. Thanks for coming on our Skype hotline. Steve, I'll let you start with the first question since you're raising your hand at me.
Oh, no, Spencerport's been the gold standard. And Coach Schneider, when you have a run of success like this, is it success breeds success? Is that how it works? Or what are the keys to your program being as successful as it's been?
Well, thanks for having us. And yeah, that is part of the key. I'd say one of the big factors is the leadership. The leadership definitely learns from one team to the next and how we conduct ourselves and what we need to do. So the success definitely helps. And, we have a bunch of dedicated families and community in Spencerport that want to keep that going.
Just to follow up on that before we bring Bre on, I want to ask you this because this is your 19th year, I think. And I can tell you that I think you won one Section 5 title in maybe the first 8 or 9 years, the Brittany Kinman years. But what changed? What changed in the program that turned it into this continuity is amazing. Was it just a group of girls that changed it?
Yeah, I would say that we had a great deal of talent come through. The families were super dedicated even in the off season, and it was just a great deal of talent that came, and they were all committed, and we put it together.
The Wengenders and the Martones and the Kuykendalls, it was pretty amazing. Well, you're 12-0 this season, and a big reason for that is the girl you see down there who's been putting the ball in the back of the net 21 times this season, along with 10 assists. She's a senior forward. Bre, welcome to the show. We're going to talk a little offense with you, but your defense as a forward, how you got 9 shutouts, 6 in a row. How much of a luxury is that for you to know that even if you do get deep, you don't have to worry about getting caught behind because your defense is so good? How great is that as a forward?
It's pretty nice. It's nice knowing that you have backup no matter who you are on the field or where you are.
Bre, kind of building off what we started off with, Coach, is somebody who's grown up in the district and watched these older players play. Have you been around the program since maybe 3rd or 4th grade and aspired to be where you are right now and go from the young girl that's watching these older players to probably a role model for the young girls of the future and the future players?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Leah was definitely my role model. I always looked up to her when she was playing.
The balance on this team is pretty cool too, Bre. Lily Brongo, 5 goals, 15 assists. Alyssa Hackett, another one of the captains, 8 goals, 8 assists. And you got a sophomore who's playing the role of Bre DeHond from 2 years ago, Alina Solano, with 9 and 7. As a leader now, what do you try to tell the young girls about what it means to be a Spencerport girls soccer player? What are things you want to impress upon them?
Just how we all have to be a family and how we can't get into each other's heads.
And how do you do that, Bre?
Do you get in their face?
No.
Do you get in their face? No, come on.
We all get along really well. We do a lot of team bonding. We hang out at each other's houses. So it's just nice. We're all one big family. And you can easily just go up to someone and be like, hey, you got to do this or that. And they'll understand. They won't take it as a bad thing.
Coach, let me ask you about her progression. 5 goals as I think a freshman, 7, I beg your pardon, as a sophomore, 7 last year, and now 21 this year. What makes Bre such a clinical finisher? And I've seen some great clips of the passing on this team, but tell me about her maturation.
Yeah, she has just progressed, and as you guys mentioned, I think what Bre was also hinting on is just the demand for excellence this team has had over the years. It's just next up, and that we're gonna have fun while we do it, but get up to that level of excellence. And Bre specifically has just, every year she comes back better. In the off season, she works harder. Her athleticism, her tactical sense, her technical sense, and she's just a great, well-rounded soccer player. Her moves off the ball, understanding. She's athletic, she's smart, and she's got the skills to put it all together with good teammates and put it together. So, she is having a very good year individually, and she puts her team first, and we have she's got a great team around her.
Jamie, how about your approach as a coach? When you've had a lot of success, you certainly don't sneak up on anyone. And there are some times when maybe people can get content. How do you keep this team hungry and motivated?
You know, kind of what I mentioned before. It's everybody wanting to be a part of something bigger than themselves, and if they've got to experience that or see that, it's a great feeling to compete and win a championship, sectional or state, and everybody just buys in. But it's not easy. Everybody wants to win and everybody wants to be successful. So there is a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of things that have to take place that, the team has to do. They have to work hard. They have to be smart on how we do it and continue that, because it is difficult, but we try to have fun while we do it and know that we're going to have to prove it every day.
You got a tough stretch to finish here. This might be the toughest stretch of the season for you, Bre. You've got Mercy today, I think, 4 o'clock. Monarchs are always tough, 5-2 on the season. And then you've got on Wednesday at Brighton. The Bruins are 11-2. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. You beat them in the semis last year. Mercy's a rematch of last year's championship game. And then on Friday, a new entrant to Class A1, Webster Schroeder. And the Warriors are 7-5-2. So, Bre, how is this a rivalry? I know Mercy, you beat them a couple years ago in a championship game too. Has this developed into a nice rivalry with Mercy? Are they one of your biggest rivals now?
Yes, they definitely are. We just have to make sure we come out strong and not let them get in our heads at all or play down to their level.
Okay.
I just was wondering, Bre, do you have a go-to move or a strength? Is it a foot? Is it a hesitation move? Is it in the air? How do you score so many goals?
Mainly from my outside midfielders. I give them the credit because they have great balls, and I just am there to finish them.
Yeah, and I want to mention your goalie because she's in her second year, I believe, as a starter coach. Kate Burns has been tremendous. Obviously, she's got some good players ahead of her. I know someone just got an award, the young Mesh. Kendall Mesh, a sophomore player, is really good for you too. But tell us a little about Kate Burns and going with a freshman goalie last year. Is that rolling the dice, or you knew right along she was going to be great?
Yeah, we saw her coming up younger as a young player, and we knew she had, she was athletic and doing really well. And as a freshman, she just came into our preseason and the season, did really well for herself. And really her maturity, we knew she was a good goalie, a good athlete, but her maturity and how she handled herself last year, and last year was a little bit different with the COVID season, but still, winning a Section 5 championship and, going undefeated, she was just spot on how she handled herself and, and how she was a teammate. So that was impressive. And this year she's continuing that.
And Bre, Spencerport has some of the most loyal fans in Section 5, the following. Could you let us know what it's like to receive the community support that you do and, how that helps build up the team and inspire you on to even more new things and great things?
I think having a lot of people support us, it makes the team get more excited for games and hype us up to play better because we try and do it for them.
And if you've never seen their Facebook page, folks, it is the most populated thing with pictures that I've ever seen in my life. It's fantastic. Great memories for all the families and the players and the coaching staff. Jamie, this is an incredible run you're on. I mean, like I said, you've 5 straight Section 5 titles. You've had 3 unbeaten seasons in the last 5 years, in the last 4 years, really. And I've just been really, really impressed. It's incredible what you've done. And I said this to open the show, and I know you've been busy with family stuff this morning, but I used to write for years and years that the Spencerport boys program won 7 Section 5 titles in the decade of the 70s, and I never thought that'd be duplicated. And here we are on the brink of this. You're not that far away from finishing the job and getting to 7 yourself here in a row. So I know there's a work to be done, and I know you got a big week ahead, but I wish you the best of luck. I just want to say congratulations on building, and all you coaches out there, if you're in a program and you're not getting the results you want in the first 5-6 years, I'll have you call Jamie Schneider, because here's a guy that stuck through it, and it took a while, but you've built a powerhouse, number 3 in the state right now, and I give you a lot of credit, Jamie. I really mean that. It's phenomenal what you've done.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. It's been fun, and it's been it's really just being a part of it, and we're enjoying the journey.
Well, thank you for being on our show. Bre DeHond, thank you for being on our program.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck to you and the Rangers today and beyond, and hopefully we'll talk to you again when you're making a state run this year, and we can go on to states this year, all right?
Yeah.
All right, Spencerport girls soccer right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. I mean that honestly, Steve. I never thought I'd see what Aquinas girls did, and now they're almost surpassing it. They just didn't get 3 in a row. They won 2 in a row for states, but they've won 3 titles in the last 6 years. It's pretty amazing. So, all right, for our producer Joe Brott.
Joe's the man. He gets us going. He's doing a great job.
And for Steve Bradley, my name's Chef DiVeronica. Have yourself a great week, folks. We thank you for watching us right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. We got a big football game next week, a couple of them, but the granddaddy of them all, McQuaid against Aquinas, we're going to break that down next Saturday.